Hello and welcome to the Supernatural track here at Continual. I'm your host, Gail Z. Martin, and tonight we are continuing our series of looking at the must-watch episodes for each season, and we are all the way to season 11. But before we dive in, let's let our wonderful panelists introduce themselves, starting with Lola.
My name is Lola Lariscy, and I've been a fan of Supernatural since 1981. No, wait. That's probably when Jared was born. Since then, no, since 2005.
Okay, Anna.
I'm Anna Kensing, and I too have been a fan of Supernatural since the very beginning. I watched the first season more or less as it was on the air, took a bit of a break, came back, dabbled in some fanfic, and then finished out watching the season, and I'm very happy to be here.
Okay, Elektra.
I'm Elektra Hammond. I started watching from that very first episode, and I stuck around until that last episode just made me cry.
Carole.
I'm Carole Stokes. I started watching Supernatural in season 3, started writing fanfic under Fire Sign 10 in 2012, and I'm also one of the co-hosts of the Spotify podcast, So Get This, The Lore of Supernatural Fanfiction.
And I'm Gail C. Martin and Morgan Bryce. As Gail, I write epic and urban fantasy. As Morgan, I write urban fantasy, male paranormal romance. But all of my modern worlds are ones Sam and Dean could walk into and feel right at home. I fell in love with the show halfway through season 11. Binge watched 11 seasons in 4 months so that I could be ready for the start of season 12. Fell down the rabbit hole, haven't touched bottom since, and proudly claim the title of obsessed fan. So, season 11. We're going to name one episode at a time. Just keep going around till we run out of time or episodes. So, Lola, give us your first best favorite episode from season 11.
First, I'm going to warn you, I didn't have much time to prepare. I had to take an unexpected trip downtown, and I had to do something for my UU church. So I only was able to watch 2 episodes.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start with episode 12, Don't You Forget About Me. First of all, they had me at the John Hughes reference because Breakfast Club was one of my favorite movies, and it actually changed the trajectory of my life because I left private school to go to public school in high school because I thought it was just going to be like the Breakfast Club, and it was not, but I still love it. So there's so many good moments. For instance, when they're at Jody's house and the 2 girls are around the table and Jody's talking to them about birth control pills, Sam getting so uncomfortable, and Dean, he would just look at Jody and go, what? He couldn't even prepare anything to say. He was just basically pretending he didn't understand. Now, so there are hilarious moments like that. Now, I don't love the Pouty Claire show, but other than that, it was a very good episode.
Okay, Anna.
Yes, I agree with you. That is a great episode. Also for the Elvis, that Dean is so excited about, the
With the
burgers
donuts
sandwiched between 2 glazed donuts. Now, your lesser establishments will take the glazed donut and divide it in half and then make that. But no, this one has separate donuts for the top and the bottom bun.
He would have had heart disease. He would have had heart disease.
Also, Claire has been hunting vampires, but she's been wrong before, particularly about a vampire that she said was a vampire, except it turned out that vampire was just a councilwoman with an interest in vampire erotic cosplay. Cosplay.
And Jody didn't know what cosplay was until then. Well, she knows now.
She knows now. So yeah, Dean has some sort of hysterical deafness going on whenever Jody asks him to help out. What? I don't know what you're talking about. But
I don't know what that is.
But my pick is Baby. So the love letter episode to the Impala, to Dean's baby. It's a little bit lighter than the first few episodes that we get in the season. This is episode 4. It's a must watch, I think, for a bunch of reasons, right? For the technical interest of the fact that it was filmed entirely from the perspective of inside the Impala, for the werepire / ghoulpire portmanteau that Dean
Green
comes up
cooler.
with. For the boys singing along to Bob Seger's Night Moves, who is one of the greatest rock writers of all time. For Sam's one night stand, and Dean's teasing him about it. Dean also spent the night doing something in the roadhouse they stopped at, because he gets in the car in the morning and he leans his head back and he says, "Mistakes were made." And then there's a jerk and bitch moment and some reminiscing. And also we get Dean in shorts, which maybe we don't get the full effect of like Dean wearing the actual shorts until either the post-credit scene or the bloopers reel. But Sam does come down where Dean is like washing the cars and he's like, "Shorts?" Which is a funny callback to early to like season 1, where Dean is like, "Honey, I don't do shorts." But it's also important for the season arc because young John shows up, appears to Sam in a dream and tells him that the darkness is coming and that they're the only ones who can stop it. And they talk a little bit about, you know, sort of their relationships with their father, and about how Dean dreams about Dad all the time, and he has mostly the same one over and over again every couple of months, and it's really reassuring. But it's about not hunting. It's about them having a normal life. It's about John teaching him how to drive, and not like when he was young, when he really actually taught him how to drive, but he's like 15 and he's about to get his learner's permit. And it turns out that Sam also has normal life dreams too, but they're about his mom, or their mom. And it's just sort of a like episode that just encapsulates a lot of the things that make Supernatural what it is, and the relationship between the boys what it is, and is also like hilarious in multiple points.
Okay. Elektra.
Oh boy, that was
Sorry,
fascinating.
Elektra.
No,
You were
I
going
was
to do that one,
enjoying
maybe.
every
Or no, you were.
moment. That's one of my favorite episodes. But I'm going to go with The Vessel, which takes place a good portion of it out in the middle of the Atlantic, deep under the water on the USS Bluefin in 1943, where Dean is sent to go get the Hand of God, one of the weapons that can stop the darkness. Only problem with all of those lovely mystical weapons is they're one shots, you know? But he gets to go there and talks to the crew and gets to meet the lovely lady who is part of the European branch. And, you know, as soon as he says he's men of letters, everything gets straightened out, because, you know, he did pop in from out of nowhere. But it's a really fun thing. And I love period pieces and time travel pieces. And they really did a fun thing with the lore. And effectively, it was a Monster of the Week piece, but it was a really, really solid one. And that's one I can watch again and again. And I always get something else out of it.
Okay. Carole.
So I have to comment on Anna first, because have you ever tried the Elvis? They actually have it at our county fair every year. And I'm not kidding, it is delicious.
I believe
It's
you.
weird, but it's delicious.
I'm with Sam. I don't need that heart attack.
And I also have to mention, so I totally concur about Baby. It's such a great slice of Winchester life, you know, and we see them like peas in a pod, sleeping in Baby and everything. And a shout out to the moment where Dean does that whole 180. It's just great. And he learned it like right before he did it. And then he just did it in one take. And of course, everyone's like, great moment. And in The Vessel, I have to comment, I also like that episode a lot. There is a fantastic fanfic where Delphine, the French lady of letters there, is brought to our time and ends up having to like learn about computers and stuff. That it was just really, really, she's such a great character. She's a great one-shot character, which Supernatural is so good about doing. And this story just kind of gave her this whole new world and everything, and it was terrific. I'm going to pick Red Meat. Red Meat is If you had any doubt about how deep the brother bond was, Red Meat shows you. Sam is killed, but he doesn't really die, so thank goodness for that. But Dean spends most of the episode thinking Sam is dead. And we see Dean doing everything he has to do with his heart ripped out. The moment where the woman he has saved, they're sitting side by side, and she says, when you see the person you love die in front of your eyes, like, how do you come back from that? And the camera is on Jensen's face, and you just see everything. The blankness of his stare, the despair that is in him is there, without a word. And it's a stunning, stunning moment. We get Banff Sam, because, hey, he's not dead. But he's been shot, he's been wounded, and he has to like go here and go there, and he kill the werewolf, get back out to the car, and he's leaning against baby like, oh my God, and we're like, oh, but he makes it back, and he freaking saves Dean from the other werewolf. It's a tremendous Sam moment. We get, one of those great moments where we really see how big is Sam, how strong is Sam, what is he really capable of, especially because he's driven to find his brother and ultimately save his brother. It's just remarkable to see the lengths they'll go to and how important they are to each other. And it's just a real I'm losing words. It's a great encapsulation of their relationship in this one tight little case. And yeah, it's beautiful.
And then
I hope
Sam
I did it justice.
And then Sam asks him, what did you do when you thought I was dead? And Dean says, well, I thought I'd redecorate your room. I didn't really think you were dead. And Sam, there have been fan fictions, codas written about this too. Sam knows he's lying. But yes, absolutely one of my favorites. I'm going to go with Just My Imagination. Now, this is the one where we find out that all those times that John and Dean left Sam alone when he was a little boy and went off to hunt monsters, Sam had an imaginary friend. And the imaginary friend turns out to have been real in that he was a supernatural creature called a Xana. And the imaginary friend shows back up, Sully, because he knows what the Winchesters did, and he needs Sam's help because somebody is killing imaginary friends. And this is news to Dean. Dean's reaction is, well, why did you need, well, you didn't need an imaginary friend, you had Dad and me. Yeah, but you were gone all the time. I was a lonely kid. How could you be lonely, Sammy? You had me. Dean just doesn't really get the experience from Sam's point of view. And he mistrusts Sully. He's really not sure. By the way, the actor who played Sully, we've seen him at cons. He is just absolutely delightful. And I've done an interview with Carrie Genzel, who played the mother of the girl whose imaginary friend was killed. And she doesn't realize that she's smearing invisible Xana blood all over her face, but the other people can see it. And she actually got, it had glitter in it, and she got some of it in her eye, but they had told her try very hard to make it in one take because we'll have too much to reset. So she's doing the rest of that take with glitter in her eye, which I can't forget every time I watch it. But of course, they figure out who's killing the Xana and why, and they solve the mystery. And Dean, in the end, comes back to Sully and says, thanks for taking care of Sammy when I wasn't there. So it's just a really heartwarming episode,
Well,
even though
except for the mermaid in the kiddie pool.
Except for the mermaid in the kiddie pool.
That's not heartwarming.
That really isn't.
I have nightmares.
All right, back to you, Lola.
I'm going to do Don't Call Me Shirley. First of all, Airplane was one of my favorite movies when I was a kid, so I still laugh every time I hear "Don't Call Me Shirley." It's a great play on Shirley's name, and this is the first episode where we know for sure that Chuck is God. And there's just some beautiful scenes with him and Metatron in that kind of heavenly bar place. And I love Curtis Armstrong. I have ever since, what was it, Revenge of the Nerds or whatever. I just love that guy. And he does such a great job because he is so just like heart-wrenching when he's talking to Chuck. There's some quotes thanks to the Supernatural fandom wiki. Let me see, hold on, I'm sorry. Chuck says, I did some great stuff as Chuck. I mean, I told you about my blog. Metatron says, right, yeah, your cat pick blog. Chuck says, yeah, they're super cute. So there's that. And then we learned that he had girlfriends and boyfriends. And I'm like, well, of course he's God. He doesn't discriminate against gender. So of course. And then Metatron has this lovely soliloquy where he says, you are light and beauty, creation, wrath, damnation, and salvation. I don't care if I was just the angel nearest the door. You picked me. And the way he says it, anyone who's ever felt not good enough, or like you had a moment where you shined and it was taken away, that feeling when he says, you picked me. Your light shined on me and the warmth, but then you left me. You left all of us. And anyone who's ever had someone special leave, just that heartbreak, and you're never the same. You never learn to trust the right way. And it's just heartbreaking for something that happened, millions of years before. We can feel it. I think every person has had that experience, and it just broke me. And every time I watched it, breaks me. It breaks me. I'm broken. Obviously, I can't even talk, but you know what I mean.
Okay. Anna.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I go back and forth about the sort of like right ear metaphor in relation to God, and that like happens in the development of the show, and that really is like all up in this season, in this episode. But I feel you on what Metatron has been going through. Metatron is not one of my favorite characters, but that moment I did actually feel for him. And then also this scene, we have the fog that the darkness has released is like, taking over Sam, and Sam is going to die from it. And he tells Dean to leave him and save himself. And Dean is like, no way. No, 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 never leaving you. And so it's just sort of
and then runs to the vent to breathe it in himself
so that he can die with Sam, right? Like, yeah, if you're going, then we're going together. Yeah, it's just, yeah, this is definitely a must-watch episode. But another must-watch episode is honestly the first episode, Out of the Darkness into the Fire. So Dean has killed Death. The darkness has been released. The darkness is washing over the earth. And, there's just a lot going on, and we're kind of like getting established in this season, but we get some really good banter between the boys that we have not had for the last like several seasons. Sam finds Dean, and Dean explains that the darkness saves him, and they're like marching back to the car, and Dean pulls open the door and he sits into the Impala, and then he realizes that the back wheel is like in this muddy pothole, and he looks at Sam, he's like, really? You're just gonna let me sit here? And Sam's like, well, but you were on a roll. And it's just this like classic sort of big brother, little brother banter stuff that we've been missing a lot. And we get feral Cass, and we get a father and two boys with shotguns who are, I don't know, like doppelgangers for John and the boys. And there's just a whole lot going on. Plus we get Crowley in the menopausal suburban real estate agent who, for her birthday, just wants to have a party with her husband and neighbors. And it's just
a different turn.
it's just, and Crowley's like, I got things to do, but they can wait until we're done here. So it's like, it's like a cross between.
shout out to Lacey Malley as Jenna. She is fabulous.
Yes, she's really, really great. So we get Jenna and we get like baby Amara, and oh my gosh, this baby has the mark, right? So it's like, it's the most, I think I have issues with the rest of the season, but I think this first episode, it does a really, really excellent job of sort of like setting up the series arc, and also getting back to the fundamentals of the boys and their relationship, and balancing sort of like, oh my God, the world is about to end, with things are really fucking hilarious sometimes. So yeah.
Okay. Elektra.
The chitters. We're dealing with oh God, what is it? A 7-year monster that comes back periodically. And
Like a cicada.
and the boys, yes, like a cicada, only not as dealable. And they're in the, while dealing with this, the boys run into a pair of hunters. And once they've coped with the monster, these guys say, okay, we've dealt with the monster, we're retiring. And the boys are like, what? You can't retire, there's more monsters. And they're like, nope, this was our monster, we've gotten it, and we're done. And it gives the boys this idea that there can be a happy ending for a hunter. You can stop. And I think it plants the seed in their minds that we see later in season 15, where they start to think maybe we can stop and we can find another thing to do. I was thinking of this episode when I saw Dean filling out an application to be law enforcement. I think that was somewhere in there was a callback to, you can stop, you can do something else. There are happy endings.
In season 15, that application that's on the
Yep,
desk.
that application there. It sticks in your mind, doesn't it?
Mhm. Carole?
Yeah, I really like the chitters too. That was on my list. Partly because
It was on
there
Gail's
is that-
list too.
it is that glimpse of, you can leave a hunting life. I mean, for them, it was, they found the monster that killed one of one of them, his older brother. And so that's their vengeance moment. And they've been monster hunting all along, but that's it. That's their great white whale. They're done. We were lucky because it gave us Jesse and Cesar, who are great characters. Again, would have loved to see them in a bunch of other episodes. It really rounding out that hunter world, hunters that they get along with and could have worked with. And you will see them.
If only
in-
they'd had a minivan.
Yeah.
Sorry,
will see
wait, that was
in,
the Winchesters.
a lot of fanfics, because they're an interesting couple in their own right. And the surprise moment of like, oh, they're just like an old married couple. Oh, they are an old married couple. So a lot of great fanfics with them and those characters. That is a really good
One comment, I think early Supernatural wouldn't dared have shown a happy gay couple.
Yeah.
And I think Supernatural matured so that by season 11, it was, yeah, we can totally do this and we're not ashamed of it.
Mm-hmm.
We're just putting it there. Hunters can be happy, hunters can be good at being hunters, and they can also be happy gay couples.
And both
Exactly.
Jesse and Cesar lived through it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Well, that's because neither of them sleep with Sam.
It's true. This is true.
Yeah.
But I'm
Chris,
sorry.
that didn't save Charlie. We know she didn't. I'm gonna say
Wait.
I didn't do mine yet.
Carole didn't get to do
Carole
hers.
didn't finish. Sorry.
I was so excited about the chitters. I'm going with Plush. I really enjoyed Plush, partly because we have Donna again, and I really enjoy Donna. And she really comes into her own a lot on this case. including up to and including losing her boyfriend because he decides that this is too much for him. And he's like, thank goodness people like you are out there fighting this fight, but I ain't going to be part of it. And, so that part was sad. And I just loved the whole possessed costume thing, starting with that awful bunny. That bunny is like horrendous. Real callback to Donnie Darko for one thing. So it's like a very Donnie Darko bunny. But just the unrelenting, he's sitting there in the cell and then Dean turns around and then boom, there he is. You're like, wow. But all the other costumes are similarly horrendous. The what is it? The jester courtier guy. And then of course, the clown, the horrible, horrible clown that Sam is stuck with in the elevator. And we see him just like holding on to his sanity because this clown is terrible. And doesn't it have a bloody knife? Does it have a bloody knife? Yeah. And he's just like, he wants no part of it. So a lot of great suspense and humor. And like I said, Donna is really a driving force in this particular case. And I just super enjoyed that episode.
Okay. I'm going to go with Into the Mystic. This is solving a mystery at a retirement home. Mildred is one of the people who has witnessed some of the supernatural things. So they're trying, Sam and Dean are trying to figure out what's killing people. Mildred, meanwhile, kind of has this cougar crush on Dean, and it's hysterical. She lays a hand on its knee and then it starts creeping up and you can just see Dean going, your hand. And it's just such an adorable flirtation. But this is also where we meet Eileen, who I liked as a friend and a hunter and did not buy as a girlfriend. But she's a terrific hunter, and the banshee that it turns out that they're hunting killed her parents back in Ireland. And because of the banshee's attack, that's why she's deaf. And so, but that also kind of makes it easier for her to hunt the banshee because of the banshee's cries. And so it's just a great Monster of the Week episode. We get Eileen. I would have loved to have seen, some spinoff where now Mildred grabs her best buddy at the retirement home and they're solving all these mini supernatural mysteries around the retirement home. That would have just been, Mildred would have had it nailed. So that would have been.
You could have had cursed dentures.
That's right. Or, and sneaking around the retirement home, salting and burning things. I mean, I think that could have been a lot of fun, but alas, we did not get that. Back to you, Lola.
Okay, so has anyone done Form and Void yet?
Mm.
All right, this is not the best, but it does have a lot of crucial things happen. It's episode 2, and that's where the whole town has the black goo going down their necks, and Sam's able to figure out that it's fire that takes care of it. And poor Jenna, I liked Jenna a lot. Jenna gets her soul eaten by a baby, because that's what babies do, apparently. I don't know. I don't have kids. I was unaware of that. I learned something. They eat souls. I thought it was only dogs. Sorry, just kidding. But
depends on the age.
Depends on the age. So poor Jenna loses her soul and kills her grandmother. That was rough. And somehow Amara, she grows from a baby to like 5 years old or something, but she develops a dress. Still can't quite figure that out. I mean, I guess she had a custom made dress somehow within seconds. I don't really quite know how that happened.
Well, this is also why werewolves aren't running around naked, television standards.
They always have pants. Why is that?
Wait, say that again, Carole.
Werewolves, they always have pants.
They have pants, but no shirt. I wonder if the lady werewolves don't have shirts either. That would be
Probably not on
interesting.
broadcast TV.
Not on broadcast TV, maybe on HBO. We'll have to go back and look at True Blood and see how they handled the female werewolves. Anyway, so we got to see what baby Amara and 5-year-old Amara are capable of. So, and we get to see Hannah again, even though Hannah is in a different body. But you know, he is still sticking up for Cass. Poor Cass is being pummeled. We meet Billy, important, you know, character of death for several years. So a lot of stuff happens. It wasn't the best episode. There wasn't any, like, not a whole lot of snappy dialogue, not a whole lot of cool stuff going on, but a lot of major plot points that set up the season.
Okay, Anna.
So continuing in the same vein about plot points that set up the whole season, I'm going to go with Our Little World, where we find out that the darkness, Amara, is God's sister. And we find out because Cass is threatening Metatron, and there's this whole back and forth with Metatron and Cass. It's incredibly boring. But he does reveal that people want God to be effortlessly omnipotent and magic, but that the truth is that he had to work and sacrifice to make this world, and that what he sacrificed in order to make this world was his sister, his only kin. And then we have this scene between Amara and Dean where we get a little bit more about the connection that they have. And Dean is mesmerized by her. She tells him that he's the first thing that she saw of God's creation after being freed and being in prison for so long. And so Dean represents creation for her. You know, sort of speaking of like both form and void in the first episode, like I wonder what the darkness would have appeared like if it had been somebody other than Dean and to be the first person that the darkness saw, right? Like this is a woman who Dean responds to women, he likes women, he has a type. And if it had been Sam, how would it have been different? If it had been something totally someone totally else, how would the darkness have appeared differently? But
Well,
anyway,
she's
they have
Really
this
friendly
connection.
dog.
She would have died sooner.
She
if
would have been a really friendly girl dog
She might have been really friendly girl dog. She
that he
might
could have
died
hit
sooner.
with the Impala.
Mhm.
Maybe.
Am I the only one who finds it creepy that Dean held Amara as a baby and then is totally into her sexually later? It creeps me out.
Well,
I
it
don't feel like
wasn't
he's
the,
really.
I mean, they're not the same, you know,
the
bodies.
same curve.
It's not
You
the
know,
same her.
she grew up
You
differently.
know, yeah,
And
she
I
grew
feel
up
like
Stranger
differently.
things have happened.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I feel like a lot of that is the thrall she casts over him too. Like,
Mhm.
you know, some of that is almost not of his own volition.
Yeah.
Which
He's
is
Yes.
definitely
creepy.
being controlled.
Yes. Well, yeah. And she's got some thrall that she can be throwing around. So, you know, she's managed to defeat Crowley. She's escaped from, you know, she's grown up and she's escaped from all of the people and beings who tried to entrap her, including God, her own brother, and she's free.
And she's got a lot of mystery going on, which really gets to Dean because he thinks he's been there, seen that. So he's really into women he can't figure out.
Mhm.
Including fifth base, you know, Rowena. Elektra, how about you?
Okay, this one's not my fault, okay? This one is the fault of Arrow. I'll get you there. Arrow, Stephen Amell, and that got me, for unknown reasons, watching his new series Heels, which got me totally into this idea of maybe I should start watching wrestling. So Beyond the Mat, really, because I mean, the guys apparently used to watch wrestling with Dad, and this episode is how they saw posted notice for a wrestler they used to watch when they were young died, and they went to his funeral because why wouldn't you pay your respects to someone who entertained you? We would if we were around. You do that kind of thing. And it turned out that it was a case, and demons and in trying to figure things out involved lots of drinking. So, they're good at that. And they got to know some of the guys, some of whom they were kind of, fans of, and they figure it out in the end, but nothing really works. It's one of the ones that doesn't tie up into a really nice, neat bow. It left some dangly ends, and they solved it, but they weren't as happy with it as they could be because, well, good people had to die. Not that they killed them, but good people ended up dead, and they wish they could have saved them. The whole story of Supernatural, but they got to know some wrestlers and got to know they were just as cool as they thought. And maybe in another life, maybe that was something else they could have done. They could have been professional wrestlers, entertaining people. And it got you to see like what was a little bit behind the scenes of these small, running on a shoestring kind of wrestling things, which again is very similar to Heels, which is a fabulous series, only 2 seasons, that y'all might enjoy, even if you know nothing about wrestling, which I didn't, but Stephen Amell. So there's that.
We also got
reading-
that great view of Dean playing on the ropes and like trying to go through the ropes and be cool and not like fall on his butt. Yeah.
That's a great little sequence. We also got a great shot of Sam and Dean, one of those very rare moments where they have put aside the whole burden that they consistently carry, and they're just having fun, whether they're watching the match, they're yelling, and they're having their nostalgic moment, and they're just unencumbered, and you see them having fun, and it's really, because sadly it is so rare, it's really, really sweet. I'm gonna go with Safe House. I love this episode so much. It's
That
creepy
was
as
the next one on my list, just so you know.
oh,
We've
It's
been very
creepy.
in tune this whole time.
It's super creepy because like people are disappearing in this house, and what does that mean? Um, but particularly because we get a wonderful flashback of Bobby and Rufus. And boy, what we were robbed in terms of that would have been a great spinoff. Watching Bobby and Rufus, either back in the day or whatever. So we get to see Bobby and Rufus, and they're being the feds, and they have their fed suits on, investigating what's happening at the house as we're watching Sam and Dean investigating what's happening at the house. And the whole juxtaposition of the flashbacks, current day, those are delicious. Bobby and Rufus are delicious. Uh, they solve the creepy case, and there's lots of dead souls and stuff, and that's all very spooky. So it just really has all of this great stuff going for it. And we even see the genesis of the Johnny Walker Blue, being starting to use as a prize during the bets. So yeah, that's a really well crafted, well written, sensationally performed by all 4 of them episode.
Okay. And I'm going to round us out with Alpha and Omega, the last episode of the season. The whole idea of Dean becoming the soul bomb, it's one of those things that in a couple of the future seasons kind of gets overused because Dean's a soul bomb, Jack's going to be a soul bomb, everybody's going to be a soul bomb. It was like,
soul bomb for you and a soul bomb for you.
did the writer's room not go, hey guys, we just used this? But we're seeing it here the first time. And so for many reasons, Dean has to be the one to get close to her, and Dean's going to sacrifice himself to blow her up. And Rowena gets the soul. So there's really creepy time when they're going through a haunted mental asylum to gather the dead souls. And so Sam goes off. There's of course a wonderful brother moment where Sam and Dean hug, and Dean says no chick flicks, and Sam says, oh, come on, you love chick flicks, and they hug. And it's one of those end of the world hugs. And so Sam and Chuck and Rowena all go off to a bar to see whether or not Dean's going to save the world because the sun is fading. And there's this moment when the sun revives, the light comes back on, and everybody else on Earth is happy. And you just look at Sam and he's devastated because that means that Dean's dead and Dean has sacrificed himself for the world and everybody else is happy, but Sam's lost his most important person. So Sam and Castiel make it back to the bunker, and Dean's told Cass to watch out for Sam, like we thought that was going to work out. And they barely get inside, and there's some chick in a pantsuit with a gun. Sam really doesn't care if she kills him or not because Dean's gone. She zaps Castiel out. Have you ever noticed the bunker has amazing supernatural wardings until it doesn't? When they need everyone from Lucifer to Gabriel to the Men of Letters, the Men of Letters at least probably had a key.
The Steins get in the previous
Lucifer
season.
just walks in. Yeah,
Everybody just
Everybody.
walks in
Mhm.
to this
Well-
super warded bunker.
No, the men of letters, they tell you they had a key
They at
because
least had a key.
men of letters are men of letters.
Yeah.
But yeah, the
So-
Steins make no sense.
Maybe they just forgot to ward the front door. Maybe
That's it.
that's it.
Who didn't press the security system? Sam, was it you again?
Who left it unlocked? Yeah.
Of course, the code's 666, so everybody knows it. But she, that's where we end the season, is she shoots him. Cass has been, angel pushed out. This, accent with a pantsuit shoots Sam. And we know that Dean has survived, but oh, look, Mary's shown back up again. So this is where they leave us with multiple cliffhangers. But I thought as a season finale went, it gave us a lot to hang on to and a big reason to come back for season 12. Of course, it hooked me, and look at that example. Obsessed fan number 1. Anyhow, folks, we have blown through our time. Thank you so much for doing this. Before we wrap up, let's tell everybody where we can find you online. Lola?
Before I say that, I forgot. The actress who plays Amara, Emily Swallow, she is awesome. I didn't know this. She's from Jacksonville. And she was here at CollectiveCon a few weeks ago, and I saw her because she's in The Mandalorian, and her mother was sitting in the same aisle as me. So
Aw.
on that note, I'm Lola Lariscy. You Google me, you'll find me, either that or someone I'm related to who probably isn't alive anymore.
Okay. Anna?
I'm Anna Kensing. You can find me at annakensing.com, where you can find the queer, paranormal, historical, and contemporary romance books that I write. And you can find me at most social media places, although my active participation waxes and wanes depending on how much I'm procrastinating and writing.
Electra?
I'm Elektra Hammond. You can find anything you need to know at untilmidnight.com. And I'm most active on Mastodon, and I'm Elektra at wandering.shop.
Very good. Carole?
You can find me on Facebook and in many, many, many continual panels and in the TFWNC group. All my fanfic is on AO3 under Firesign 10. Mind the tags. And as Ellis Colton, all my social media links are at elliscolton.carrd.co. And my books are available on, my book is on Amazon and Smashwords, and my new book will be out for pre-orders in April.
And I'm Gail C. Martin and Morgan Bryce. I'm on all the social medias under one or both of those names. They're both my .com, so if you spell them right, you'll find me. And I do run the Supernatural TFWNC group here on Facebook. I'm a columnist for the Winchester Family Business. But most of the time you can find me here on Continual. So thank you so much for being wonderful panelists. And thanks to all of you for watching and listening. There will be more Supernatural panels coming up soon. So we'll see you online.